Why play Cho'Gath mid? Well, he's naturally incredibly tanky. He brings a massive amount of CC, he's a safe laner with amazing sustain, and he's a beast in both skirmishes and team fights. However, he is skill shot reliant, so he struggles against high mobility, and he can be reliant on his team to follow up his engage or to engage for him. Cho'Gath's passive is whenever he kills an enemy, which does include minions, he heals for a decent chunk of health and restores a small chunk of mana. Especially after he has a few levels in him, this is an insane amount of sustain. Cho'Gath's Q is a skill shot which creates a circle on the floor granting vision, and after a short delay it ruptures, dealing damage to all enemies hit and knocking them up. And then after they land from being knocked up, they're heavily slowed. This ability has a 100% AP scaling, so with being mid lane AP build, this is insane damage. Cho'Gath's W is a cone skill shot which deals damage to and silences all enemies hit. Cho'Gath's E is an auto attack reset which empowers his next 3 basic attacks to gain additional range and launch a blast of spikes in a straight line. Enemies hit by these spikes are damaged and slowed. In addition, as Cho'Gath grows bigger, the width of these spikes increase along with him. Cho'Gath's ultimate is a point and click ability which causes him to eat an enemy, dealing a large amount of true damage. If the enemy is killed by this, Cho'Gath gains a feast stack which grants permanent health, attack range, and champion size. Cho'Gath can stack these infinitely, however he's only able to get 6 stacks from non-epic monsters and minions, so once you've eaten 6 of these, you're reliant on stacking them on dragons, barons, and champions. For combos, start by landing a Q into an auto attack and E. Keep spamming out attacks using W and ultimate for the kill. For matchups, he can struggle against bullies who can kill him while he's weaker, or champions who can easily kite him. However, he's great into squishy mages who he can simply land a Q on before going in for the one-shot. For runes, take this. Comet is easy to hit with your Q knockups and your E slows. For build orders, start Ringing Pot into tier 2 boots and an Everfrost. After this, a Demonic's Embrace is incredible alongside a Zonya's, before finishing a build with any of these as needed. For skill orders, start Q then E then W before maxing Q then W then E, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Starting the game, your main focus is going to be on farming into the mid and late game god you will become. And the easiest way to get free farm is by poking and harassing your opponent efficiently. When farming, always look for opportunities to land an E onto an enemy champion while attacking a minion. Not only is this very easy to land and increases your zone of control, but as it slows you also get comet damage, and it gives you a very easy opportunity to follow up with a Q or W as needed for massive amounts of damage. Otherwise, you can look to poke your opponent with your Q. As this skill shot is incredibly easy to dodge, the easiest way to land it is throw it just before your opponent goes to auto attack a minion and roots themselves while doing so. This will leave them stuck in the animation and make your Q far easier to land. And when you get access to your ultimate, you can use it in 2 different ways. Firstly, if you're very likely to get a kill soon, save it to go for the all-in. Otherwise, most of the time, it's best to use it on a minion to start stacking it as soon as you can, as the faster you get these stacks into you, the faster you feel truly unkillable. Entering the mid game, your bot lane will usually rotate mid, which means your farm and experience is now in the bot lane. From here, push it out as far as you can safely before rotating for skirmishes and objectives. Entering late game team fights, you should now be an unkillable force which does insane damage with your AP build. If you're ever able to start a fight by landing a Q, it gives your team incredibly easy follow-up. And of course, if you can land this on a carry with its 100% AP scaling, it will take off most of their health bar. When the fight starts, if you're able to be your team's frontline, go for it. You deal massive AoE damage and it gives you easy access to landing abilities on their backline. Otherwise, play as the short range mage, spamming out abilities before going in for the chomp.